Slide 1. Introduction. Of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, adopted by the United Nations, Goal 9 stands as a fundamental catalyst for broad-based economic development and societal progress. Continuing the series from the previous week, I Harshit Simha, your host, today discuss about SDG 9, that build out of resilient infrastructure, the promotion of inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and the fostering of innovation. This triad is recognized not as an end in itself but as a critical enabler for achieving nearly all other SDGs, from poverty eradication to climate action. Robust and sustainable infrastructure, from transportation and energy grids to digital networks, forms the backbone of a functional society, connecting communities and enabling access to essential services. Sustainable industrialization then drives economic diversification, productivity, and job creation, particularly in developing nations. Crucially, SDG 9 emphasizes that this industrial growth must be decoupled from environmental degradation, advocating for clean technologies and resource-efficient processes. Underpinning both is innovation, which provides the transformative solutions needed to tackle complex global challenges, fostering a cycle of continuous improvement and future-ready economies. The pursuit of SDG 9, however, is fraught with challenges, including significant financing gaps, technological disparities between nations, and the pressing need to modernize legacy infrastructure in the face of climate change. Despite these hurdles, global commitment is evident in the rise of investments in renewable energy, digitalization efforts, and targeted policies supporting research and development. The goal remains paramount: to build a foundation for prosperity that is both equitable and enduring, ensuring that the benefits of progress are universally shared. Slide 2. Understanding SDG 9, the three pillars. Of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, adopted by the United Nations, Goal 9 stands as a fundamental catalyst for broad-based economic development and societal progress. It champions the build-out of resilient infrastructure, the promotion of inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and the fostering of innovation. This triad is recognized not as an end in itself but as a critical enabler for achieving nearly all other SDGs, from poverty eradication to climate action. Sustainable Development Goal 9, SDG 9, focuses on building resilient infrastructure, promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and fostering innovation. These three interconnected pillars form the foundation for achieving long-term sustainable development and economic growth. Resilient infrastructure provides the essential base for sustainable progress by ensuring that both physical and digital systems can withstand disruptions and adapt to changing environmental, social, and economic conditions. Strong infrastructure not only supports productivity and trade but also enhances access to essential services, connectivity, and resilience in the face of global challenges such as climate change and rapid urbanization. Sustainable industrialization drives economic growth while minimizing negative environmental impacts. It emphasizes efficient resource use, reduced carbon emissions, and the adoption of clean technologies. By promoting industries that are inclusive and environmentally responsible, sustainable industrialization helps create employment opportunities, foster equitable growth, and ensure that development does not come at the cost of ecological degradation. Innovation acts as the driving force behind both infrastructure and industrial advancement. It enables the development of new technologies, systems, and solutions that support sustainable practices, improve productivity, and address emerging global challenges. Innovation encourages creative problem solving and enhances competitiveness while paving the way for a low-carbon and inclusive economy. Despite these hurdles, global commitment is evident in the rise of investments in renewable energy, digitalization efforts, and targeted policies supporting research and development. The goal remains paramount: to build a foundation for prosperity that is both equitable and enduring, ensuring that the benefits of progress are universally shared. Slide 3. The global significance of SDG 9. Sustainable Development Goal 9, SDG 9, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure, plays a transformative role in advancing global sustainable development. It acts as a catalyst for inclusive growth, technological progress, and environmental stewardship, creating a foundation upon which other development goals can thrive. Economic development driver, SDG 9 contributes significantly to global economic prosperity, accounting for nearly 60% of the world's GDP and providing employment to millions worldwide. By promoting industrialization and infrastructure development, it stimulates productivity, trade, and entrepreneurship. Sustainable industries drive long-term economic growth while ensuring that development benefits are distributed equitably across societies. Environmental protection, a core component of SDG 9, is promoting cleaner and more efficient production systems. Sustainable industrial practices minimize pollution, conserve resources, and reduce carbon emissions. By integrating environmentally responsible technologies, SDG 9 supports a transition toward a low-carbon economy and aligns with global efforts to combat climate change and preserve ecosystems for future generations. Social integration. Infrastructure under SDG 9 fosters social inclusion by connecting communities to essential services such as education, healthcare, water, and sanitation. Well-developed transport and digital networks enable rural and marginalized populations to access markets and opportunities, reducing inequalities and improving quality of life. Technological advancement. Innovation and technological progress lie at the heart of SDG 9. By encouraging research and development, the goal helps address pressing global challenges, from climate adaptation and resource efficiency to healthcare and education access. Advancements in digital and industrial technologies strengthen economies and create sustainable solutions to modern-day problems. Overall, SDG 9 serves as a multiplier for all other sustainable development goals. It drives growth, fosters resilience, and promotes innovation while balancing economic progress with environmental and social responsibility, making it fundamental to achieving a sustainable global future. Slide 4. SDG 9 Targets and Indicators. The ambitious vision of Sustainable Development Goal 9 is operationalized through a set of 8 specific targets and their corresponding indicators, creating a rigorous framework for accountability and measurable global progress. These targets translate the goal's broad aspirations into concrete, actionable objectives, allowing for precise tracking and policy formulation. The targets are strategically comprehensive, addressing the goal's core pillars. Target 9.1 focuses on developing quality, reliable, sustainable, and resilient infrastructure, with indicators tracking rural access to all-weather roads and transport volumes. Industrialization is quantified in Target 9.2 through manufacturing value added as a proportion of GDP and per capita. Critically, the framework embeds sustainability with. Furthermore, the targets explicitly foster inclusivity and capacity building. Target 9.3 aims to increase access to financial services for small-scale enterprises, while Target 9.4 mandating the upgrade of infrastructure and industries for enhanced resource use efficiency and clean technology adoption, measured by carbon dioxide emissions per unit of value added. Target 9.5 seeks to enhance scientific research and technological capabilities, tracked by R&D expenditure and the number of researchers. This structured system of targets and indicators is indispensable, providing governments and international bodies with the data-driven insights needed to direct investment, evaluate interventions, and ensure that the path of industrial development is truly inclusive and sustainable. Slide 5. Global infrastructure trends and comparisons. Contemporary global infrastructure development is characterized by a strategic pivot towards integrating sustainability, digitalization, and resilience, with leading nations adopting distinct yet instructive approaches. These divergent models reflect varying national priorities and offer a comparative framework for emerging economies. China's paradigm is one of scale and connectivity, exemplified by its monumental investment in physical transport networks, including the world's most extensive high-speed rail system. This approach prioritizes economic integration and industrial capacity. In contrast, European nations like Germany exemplify the ecological transition model, where infrastructure policy is inextricably linked to decarbonization goals, notably through the Energiewende, energy transition, integrating over 40% renewable energy into its grid. Conversely, digital supremacy defines the strategy of nations like South Korea and Singapore. Their focus is on creating pervasive, smart infrastructure ecosystems where ubiquitous 5G connectivity, IoT integration, and data-driven urban management optimize efficiency and quality of life. These comparative trends reveal a critical evolution. Modern infrastructure is no longer merely about concrete and steel but about creating intelligent, interconnected, and low-carbon systems that are inherently resilient to future shocks, both climatic and economic. Slide 6. Global Innovation Leaders versus India. A comparative analysis of global innovation ecosystems reveals a pronounced dichotomy between established leaders and India's burgeoning but challenged system. Nations like South Korea and Israel, which dedicate over 4% of their GDP to research and development, R&D, have created self-reinforcing cycles of technological advancement and commercial application. Their success is underpinned by deep public-private partnerships, robust intellectual property frameworks, and a cultural ethos that embraces high-risk, high-reward scientific exploration. In contrast, India's innovation landscape, though dynamically evolving, is constrained by a comparatively modest R&D expenditure, hovering near 0.7% of GDP. This financial gap translates into fewer researchers per million inhabitants, less dense industry-academia linkages, and a slower pace of patent generation compared to leaders like Japan and Germany. The United States further exemplifies the critical role of a mature venture capital ecosystem in de-risking and scaling innovation, a domain where India is still developing depth. However, India's model is not without its unique advantages, including a vast domestic market for testing solutions, a strong IT services foundation, and burgeoning startup hubs. The strategic imperative is not to merely emulate but to adapt lessons from these global paradigms, fostering specialized research clusters, incentivizing private sector R&D, and strengthening the commercialization bridge to build a uniquely Indian innovation ecosystem that leverages its demographic and digital strengths. Slide 7. Sustainable industry practices around the world. Global leaders in sustainable industrialization are demonstrating that economic competitiveness and environmental stewardship are mutually reinforcing objectives. These nations have moved beyond incremental efficiency gains to embrace transformative models that fundamentally redefine industrial processes. Denmark's Kalundborg symbiosis stands as a paradigmatic example of the circular economy in action, where an interconnected network of companies utilizes each other's waste streams as primary resources, creating a closed-loop system that dramatically reduces both environmental footprint and operational costs. Simultaneously, the pursuit of deep decarbonization is revolutionizing foundational industries. Sweden's HYBRIT initiative exemplifies this, pioneering fossil-free steel production that substitutes green hydrogen for coking coal, thereby eliminating approximately 90% of associated carbon emissions. This technological leap challenges the notion that heavy industry must remain inherently polluting. Complementing these material innovations is the digital revolution of Industry 4.0. Germany's smart factories, embedded with IoT sensors and AI-driven analytics, optimize energy and material flows in real time, achieving substantial reductions in waste and energy consumption while boosting productivity. These global best practices collectively chart a course toward a resilient industrial future, proving that sustainability is the cornerstone of next-generation competitiveness. Slide 8. Regional disparities in infrastructure and industrialization. India's impressive aggregate economic growth masks profound regional inequalities in infrastructure and industrial development, creating a nation of contrasting economic geographies. States like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka have established advanced industrial ecosystems, benefiting from historical investments, robust logistics corridors, and high-quality infrastructure that attracts further private capital. These regions function as the nation's primary economic engines. Conversely, the eastern states of Bihar and Jharkhand, along with the northeastern region, exhibit significant developmental deficits. They are characterized by inadequate transport connectivity, unreliable energy access, and a scarcity of mature industrial clusters. This disparity stems from a complex interplay of historical neglect, challenging topography, governance capacity issues, and less effective policy implementation. The Indian government has recognized this critical challenge, launching targeted initiatives like the Purvodaya scheme for integrated steel hub development in the east and offering special industrial incentives for hilly states. However, bridging this deep-seated divide requires more than isolated interventions. It demands a sustained, multidimensional strategy focused on building foundational infrastructure, enhancing institutional quality, and creating tailored industrial policies to ensure that economic growth becomes truly inclusive and nationally balanced. Slide 9. Infrastructure development in India. India's infrastructure landscape is undergoing a transformative acceleration, characterized by unprecedented public investment and strategic vision. The government has launched monumental initiatives, including the Bharatmala Pariyojana for highway expansion, Sagarmala for port-led development, and the dedicated freight corridors to decongest railway networks. These projects form the backbone of the ambitious National Infrastructure Pipeline, NIP, which envisions a $1.4 trillion investment across energy, transport, and urban sectors by 2025. Complementing these physical assets is a digital infrastructure revolution, propelled by the world's most affordable data costs and over 800 million internet users, creating a robust platform for digital governance and e-commerce. The visionary PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan seeks to integrate these disparate efforts, using GIS-based spatial planning to ensure synergistic development and eliminate departmental silos. Despite this remarkable progress, significant challenges persist. A substantial infrastructure financing gap, estimated at over $500 billion, threatens timely completion. Furthermore, regional disparities in project allocation and execution efficiency, coupled with the increasing need to climate-proof assets against extreme weather events, remain critical hurdles. India's infrastructure story is thus one of colossal ambition racing to overcome entrenched implementation bottlenecks to truly unleash its economic potential. Slide 10. Infrastructure financing gap in India. India's monumental infrastructure ambitions confront a formidable obstacle, a critical financing gap. While the nation currently invests approximately 5% of its GDP annually in infrastructure, economic analyses indicate a requirement of 7 to 8% to support its growth trajectory and meet SDG targets. This disparity culminates in a projected shortfall of $526 billion by 2030, threatening the timely execution of the $1.4 trillion National Infrastructure Pipeline, NIP. Recognizing this impediment, the government has pioneered innovative financial mechanisms to catalyze private and international capital. The National Monetization Pipeline, NMP, aims to unlock value from existing brownfield assets, recycling capital for new greenfield projects. Simultaneously, structures like infrastructure investment trusts, INVETs, and the establishment of the National Bank for Financing Infrastructure and Development, NABFID, seek to provide the long-term, patient capital that infrastructure projects demand. Despite these sophisticated instruments, deep-seated challenges persist. Many projects remain commercially unviable at inception, suffering from inadequate feasibility studies and poor risk allocation between public and private entities. Attracting foreign institutional investment requires further enhancements in regulatory certainty, dispute resolution mechanisms, and the development of a robust pipeline of truly bankable projects. Bridging this gap is not merely a fiscal exercise but a fundamental test of India's ability to structure and de-risk its infrastructure development agenda. Slide 11. Industrialization patterns in India. India's industrialization narrative reflects a complex evolution from post-colonial import substitution and state-led heavy industry to a contemporary, globally integrated yet sustainability-conscious paradigm. Currently contributing approximately 17% to GDP, the manufacturing sector stands at a critical juncture, propelled by ambitious policy frameworks aiming to elevate this share to 25%. The cornerstone of this strategy is the Production-Linked Incentive (PLI) scheme, a calculated intervention designed to attract global capital and cultivate domestic champions across 14 strategic sectors, from electronics to pharmaceuticals, securing over $27 billion in committed investments. This modern industrial policy, encompassing initiatives like Make in India and the development of dedicated industrial corridors, explicitly targets a dual objective: enhancing global competitiveness while embedding principles of green manufacturing and circularity. The vision extends beyond mere output expansion towards embracing Industry 4.0 technologies, automation, AI, and IoT, to boost productivity and resource efficiency. However, this trajectory is fraught with persistent challenges. The historical legacy of regional concentration in western and southern states continues, and the transition must reconcile the imperative of rapid job creation with the environmental costs of intensified production. India's industrialization pattern is thus a high-stakes balancing act, attempting to leapfrog into advanced manufacturing while navigating the constraints of infrastructure deficits, skill gaps, and the urgent need for sustainable resource management. Slide 12. SMEs and inclusive industrialization in India. India's micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, constitute the bedrock of its industrial landscape, serving as a powerful vehicle for inclusive economic development. Employing over 110 million people, this sector is the nation's second largest source of employment, providing critical livelihoods in semi-urban and rural areas and fostering entrepreneurship among women and marginalized communities. Contributing approximately 30% to GDP and an impressive 48% to exports, MSMEs demonstrate a remarkable capacity for economic democratization, decentralizing industrial output beyond major metropolitan hubs. The sector is currently undergoing a profound digital transformation. Government-led platforms like the Udyam Registration Portal, the Government e-Marketplace, GEM, and the Trade Receivables Discounting System, TREDS, are streamlining formalization, public procurement access, and working capital finance. This digital push is integrating small businesses into formal value chains and expanding their market reach. However, this transformative potential is constrained by systemic challenges. A persistent credit gap, technological obsolescence, inadequate infrastructure connectivity, and complex regulatory compliance disproportionately affect smaller firms. The COVID-19 pandemic starkly exposed these vulnerabilities, with a majority reporting severe operational disruptions. For India to achieve truly inclusive industrialization, policy must evolve from protection to empowerment, building resilient, technologically adept, and globally competitive small enterprises that can drive growth that is both robust and widely shared. Slide 13. Innovation Ecosystem in India. India's innovation ecosystem has evolved remarkably over the past decade, transforming into one of the world's most dynamic environments for startups and technology development. The government has played a pivotal role in this transformation through initiatives such as the Atal Innovation Mission, Startup India, Niti Aayog's innovation programs, and the establishment of the National Research Foundation. These initiatives foster innovation at multiple levels, from grassroots entrepreneurship to advanced research, by providing funding, mentorship, and infrastructural support. The private sector has complemented these efforts through corporate R&D centers, a vibrant venture capital ecosystem, industry-academia partnerships, and numerous technology accelerators. Such collaborations have helped bridge research and commercialization, enabling the rapid scaling of new technologies and startups across diverse sectors. India's innovation metrics reflect significant progress. With R&D expenditure at 0.7% of GDP, over 100,000 registered startups, and being the third largest startup ecosystem globally, India is home to 107 unicorns valued at approximately $341 billion. Cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi NCR, and Pune have become global innovation hubs, attracting investment and talent from across the world. However, challenges persist, including relatively low R&D spending, limited research commercialization, intellectual property concerns, and regional disparities. Addressing these gaps is essential for India to consolidate its position as a global innovation leader, driving inclusive and sustainable technological growth. Slide 14. Digital Infrastructure Revolution in India. India has engineered one of the world's most transformative digital public infrastructure, DPI, ecosystems, commonly termed India Stack. This tripartite architecture, comprising Aadhaar for digital identity, Unified Payments Interface, UPI, for instant payments, and DigiLocker for document verification, has fundamentally democratized access to services and catalyzed unprecedented financial inclusion. With over 1.2 billion citizens enrolled in Aadhaar and UPI processing a staggering 114 billion transactions annually, India has effectively built a public digital utility that rivals and often surpasses systems in advanced economies. The socio-economic impact is profound. This infrastructure has enabled the direct transfer of over $300 billion in benefits to citizens, drastically reducing leakage and corruption by eliminating intermediaries. It has also created the foundation for a burgeoning digital economy, projected to reach $1 trillion by 2030, and empowered a new generation of entrepreneurs and innovators. Initiatives like BharatNet, aiming to connect 650,000 villages with high-speed fiber optics, seek to bridge the digital divide for 834 million internet users and ensure the revolution's benefits permeate rural India. This DPI model, celebrated globally, demonstrates how technology can be leveraged not merely for efficiency but as a powerful tool for equitable development and participatory governance, offering a replicable blueprint for other emerging economies. Slide 15. Technology transforming infrastructure in India. India is strategically deploying cutting-edge technologies to overcome traditional infrastructure challenges, creating intelligent, responsive, and efficient, phygital systems, a seamless blend of physical assets and digital layers. The Internet of Things, IoT, is revolutionizing utilities, with smart grids reducing transmission losses by 15% and connected traffic management systems alleviating urban congestion by up to 30%. Big data analytics enables predictive maintenance on railways, preventing a significant majority of potential failures and optimizing resource allocation in smart cities. Beyond efficiency, technology enhances transparency and planning. Drone-based surveying and LiDAR mapping have accelerated project planning by 40%, particularly for rural road projects, while blockchain is introducing unprecedented transparency in public procurement, reducing costs by curbing malfeasance. Artificial intelligence is dynamically optimizing traffic flow, increasing existing road capacity utilization without pouring new concrete. This technological integration is underpinned by strategic government initiatives like the National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber-Physical Systems, which invests 3,660 crore rupees to develop indigenous capabilities in AI, robotics, and IoT. This represents a paradigm shift from building static infrastructure to creating adaptive, data-driven networks that extend asset lifespans, enhance service delivery, and respond dynamically to user needs, positioning India at the forefront of next-generation infrastructure development. Slide 16. Sustainability challenges in Indian industry. India's rapid industrial expansion has exacted a severe environmental toll, presenting a complex web of sustainability challenges that threaten to undermine long-term economic resilience. The sector is a significant contributor to the nation's crises, generating 26% of greenhouse gas emissions and operating within a context where 14 of the world's 20 most polluted cities are Indian. Severe water stress in major industrial corridors and the improper processing of over 70% of industrial waste further exemplify the unsustainable resource model. Compounding these impacts are critical efficiency deficits. Indian industry's energy intensity remains 20% higher than the global average, and material productivity lags significantly behind OECD levels, indicating a linear, resource-heavy growth pattern with limited adoption of circular economy principles. This inefficiency is exacerbated by a high dependence on imported critical raw materials, creating strategic vulnerabilities. While policy mechanisms like the Perform, Achieve and Trade (PAT) scheme for energy efficiency exist, their effectiveness is hampered by enforcement gaps, inadequate incentives for green manufacturing, and poor coordination between regulatory bodies. The pursuit of India's net zero by 2070 target thus necessitates a profound structural transformation, moving beyond isolated initiatives to an integrated strategy involving stringent regulation, financial mechanisms for green technology adoption, and standardized sustainability metrics to ensure accountability and steer industry onto a genuinely sustainable path. Slide 17. Policy initiatives driving SDG 9 in India. India has established a comprehensive and ambitious policy architecture to accelerate progress towards Sustainable Development Goal 9, demonstrating a clear recognition of infrastructure, industry, and innovation as foundational to its economic ambitions. The cornerstone is the National Infrastructure Pipeline, NIP, a meticulously planned 111 lakh rupees crore, $1.4 trillion, investment roadmap targeting 9,000 plus projects to bridge critical gaps. This is synergized by the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, which uses GIS-based spatial planning to break persistent departmental silos and ensure integrated, multimodal connectivity, thereby enhancing logistical efficiency. To catalyze manufacturing, the Production-Linked Incentive (PLI) scheme offers targeted financial incentives across 14 strategic sectors, from electronics to pharmaceuticals, aiming to create global champions and integrate India into global value chains. Concurrently, the Startup India initiative fosters a vibrant innovation ecosystem through funding, tax benefits, and regulatory simplification, which has propelled the nation to become the third largest startup hub globally. Complementing these efforts, the national logistics policy aims to drastically reduce costs from 14% to 8% of GDP, while missions focused on semiconductor manufacturing and advanced chemistry cell storage reveal a strategic push toward future-oriented, self-reliant industries. The success of this intricate policy matrix, however, hinges on overcoming implementation bottlenecks, ensuring seamless center-state coordination, and securing the massive, sustained financing required to translate visionary blueprints into tangible, inclusive outcomes. Slide 18. Public-private partnerships in Indian infrastructure. Public-private partnerships, PPPs, have emerged as a vital mechanism for accelerating infrastructure development in India, combining public sector oversight with private sector efficiency, innovation, and investment. Over 1,800 PPP projects, valued at approximately $180 billion, have been implemented across diverse sectors, addressing fiscal constraints and enabling large-scale modernization. In the transportation sector, PPPs have played a transformative role, with over 670 highway projects worth more than $48 billion. These collaborations have been pivotal in building expressways, modernizing airports, and expanding metro rail networks, significantly enhancing national connectivity and logistics efficiency. They have also facilitated the integration of advanced technologies in traffic management and tolling systems. In the energy sector, PPPs have driven the expansion of renewable energy capacity through innovative models such as distribution franchises and hybrid PPP frameworks. These initiatives support India's transition toward clean energy, reduce carbon footprints, and attract global green investments. Private participation has also improved operational efficiency and financial sustainability in power distribution. Urban infrastructure has similarly benefited from PPPs in areas like water supply, waste management, and smart city projects. Leveraging private sector expertise has led to better service delivery, data-driven governance, and improved quality of urban life. The growth of digital infrastructure through PPPs has enabled the expansion of telecom networks, fiber optic deployment, and digital service delivery platforms, strengthening India's digital transformation and inclusion goals. Despite substantial progress, PPPs in India still face challenges such as land acquisition delays, contract renegotiations, regulatory hurdles, and financing bottlenecks. However, reforms like contract standardization, viability gap funding, VGF, and infrastructure investment trusts, INVITs, are making PPPs more viable, transparent, and investor-friendly, reinforcing India's path towards sustainable and inclusive infrastructure growth. Slide 19. Climate-resilient infrastructure, global best practices. In an era of escalating climate volatility, the paradigm of infrastructure development is fundamentally shifting from mere robustness to dynamic resilience, with global leaders offering invaluable blueprints. The Netherlands exemplifies adaptive water management through its pioneering Room for the River program, which strategically creates floodplains and employs nature-based solutions, working with natural systems rather than against them. This approach contrasts with static defenses, instead allowing controlled flooding to protect urban centers. Japan's seismic resilience model is equally sophisticated, integrating advanced engineering with robust public protocols. Its infrastructure incorporates seismic isolation foundations, real-time early warning systems seamlessly connected to transportation and utility networks, and rigorous public drills, creating a society-wide culture of preparedness. Meanwhile, Singapore's holistic urban approach demonstrates how resilience can be multifunctional. Its coastal protections double as public spaces, and mandatory green infrastructure replacement ensures ecological continuity alongside urban development. For India, with its extensive coastline, climate-vulnerable regions, and an estimated $14 billion in annual climate-related infrastructure risks by 2030, these practices are not merely illustrative but imperative. They underscore that resilience is an integrative strategy combining cutting-edge engineering, ecological wisdom, and proactive governance. As a founding member of the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI, India is positioned to both absorb these global lessons and contribute to evolving a new standard for infrastructure that is inherently sustainable and adaptive. Slide 20. The Path Forward. Implementing SDG 9 in India. India's journey toward fully realizing Sustainable Development Goal 9 demands a meticulously phased and integrated approach, balancing immediate economic imperatives with long-term sustainability and resilience. The near-term roadmap, 2023 to 2025, must prioritize the effective execution of the National Infrastructure Pipeline, a concerted doubling of R&D expenditure to 1.5% of GDP, and the universalization of digital connectivity. This foundational phase is crucial for bridging existing deficits and creating the enabling conditions for advanced industrialization. The medium-term vision, 2026 to 2030, must then pivot toward qualitative transformation, elevating manufacturing's GDP share to 25% through high-value, sustainable production, embedding circular economy principles across industrial value chains, and systematically building climate resilience into infrastructure planning, particularly in vulnerable regions. This period should also focus on democratizing innovation by establishing robust R&D hubs across all states to mitigate regional disparities. The long-term ambition, aligning with India's 2047 centenary of independence, envisions a carbon-neutral industrial economy positioned among global innovation leaders. Achieving this requires more than incremental progress. It necessitates policy coherence across sectors, innovative financing models that crowd in private capital, and a steadfast commitment to inclusive growth that ensures the benefits of development permeate every stratum of society. SDG 9, therefore, is not a standalone target but the foundational catalyst for India's transformation into a sustainably developed nation. This brings end to our presentation. As we move forward, we shall begin exploring Sustainable Development Goals 10, reducing inequality. We encourage you to stay connected with our channel for the upcoming session, and to share this content with fellow professionals who share their passion for sustainable development with our channel. Until then, I wish you all about their professional journey filled with excitement, challenges and sustainable prosperity.